This will be my last YouTube video for a while. See, I'm starting practice court tomorrow, and if that doesn't mean anything to you, then I refer you to this clip from a video I made last year. One of the things that Baylor is known for, that it's probably best known for, is practice court, which is a program that all 3Ls have to take, and I'm not even going to begin to describe how difficult and intense it is. And Professor Powell here has been teaching PC for, when did you start teaching PC?
I first taught in the practice court program in about 1986.
Okay, that's enough of that. So obviously, I'm not going to have a lot of free time. Well, any free time. But I did want to make this video because I've noticed, as you may have, that MSNBC has been doing this new marketing campaign with their new slogan, Lean Forward, and they have a series of 20-second promos featuring members of their primetime lineup. Al Sharpton, Chris Matthews, Ed Schultz, Rachel Maddow, and Lawrence O'Donnell. And in a lot of the promos, I've noticed it almost seems like MSNBC is trying to highlight how ignorant these people are. Case in point, take a look at this one featuring Rachel Maddow.
People are not poor because they think it sounds like a great idea. People are poor because they don't have other opportunities.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who suggested otherwise, Rachel. What exactly is your point?
We need to raise as many votes as we can.
That's right. And as you know, Rachel, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Helping out rich people was a theory that we tried. It did not help anybody else except rich people.
Okay, now, if you were to base your entire opinion about Rachel Maddow on that one promo, then you would probably think that she is a very stupid person. But did you know that she also appears in other promos for MSNBC? Here's one.
We have pursued economic policies now for a generation that only benefit the richest people in the country, with the hope that if rich people do better, somehow everybody will do better. It doesn't work. When the middle class is strengthened, when we change our tax code to benefit people who work for a living, people in the middle of the economic spectrum, everybody does better, and even rich people do better.
Wow. She sounded even stupider in that promo than she did in the first one I showed you. Where to begin? We have pursued economic policies in this country that only benefit the richest people in the country. First of all, what about the millions of people who were lifted out of poverty because of welfare reform? What about all the good-paying jobs that were created because of the economic policies of Reagan and even Clinton and George W. Bush? We had a thriving middle class in this country for 25 years. And I mean, when we change our tax code to benefit people who actually work for a living, people in the middle of the economic spectrum, we did that, Rachel. We did that in the 80s, and we did it again in 2001 and 2003. Have you not been paying attention? You dolt. Oh my God. On a similar note, Al Sharpton tried to pick up that point of criticizing Republican economics or something. I don't know. He sounded kind of dazed and confused in this one.
They give tax cuts and loopholes to the rich, and they act like it's acceptable, saying, by and by, it'll trickle down to you. It's not acceptable to us. It was a time it was acceptable women couldn't vote and blacks were in the back of the bus. A lot of things were acceptable until we stopped accepting it.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure what he was trying to say there.
This conversation would be even better if I knew what you were talking about.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Since that promo didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Let's see if I can get someone who actually works with Al Sharpton. Someone who occupies the time slots both before and after his show on MSNBC to break that down. Chris?
Wow, there are so many fragments of craziness in that statement. I don't know where to start.
Yeah, tell me about it. Look, I'm not entirely sure what to make of that promo. To me, it sounded like some combination of a straw man argument, an attempted invocation of the civil rights and women's suffrage movements, and the usual left-wing ramblings about we're not going to accept it. Anyway, let's switch gears now and take a look at a different promo. This one featuring the guy who now occupies the 8 p.m. Eastern time slot on MSNBC, Fat Ed Schultz.
What we're seeing is bullies, political bullies who want it their way or the highway, standing up to the president. And who's feeling the hurt? The middle class and the working poor.
Wow, it actually sounds like Ed Schultz is criticizing Democrats for a change.
The haves and the have-mores, they're getting off scot-free. In fact, they're making a case that they're actually paying too much. If we're going to get this country back to work again, it's going to take shared sacrifice. Those who have had all the breaks over the last 10 years are going to have to give a little bit more. And those who have not had the breaks are going to have to be given the opportunity to do more.
Ed, I'm not sure who you think you're talking about when you refer to those who have had all the breaks over the last 10 years, but I've watched your show before, and on the occasions when my ears don't start to bleed, I've noticed that a lot of you rail against basically any kind of sacrifice by anyone other than people who are wealthy or upper middle class. And the fact of the matter is, most of the breaks over the last 10 years have benefited people who are at the lower end of the income spectrum, or senior citizens, if you're talking about the prescription drug benefit. And yet, you talk about shared sacrifice, but I'm not sure what you can. Let's take a look at one more of these promos. Here's one featuring Lawrence O'Donnell.
This whole class warfare argument is over 4 percentage points in the tax code. Now, when you have no defense against paying fairer tax rates, what do you have to do? You have to come up with a lie. You have to come up with a slogan: class warfare.
Now, that bit of crazy deserves a video all its own. But obviously, I'm not going to be making that anytime soon because I've got so much work to do. But here's the deal. Over the next few months, it's going to be your job, my loyal fans and viewers, to make sure that the videos I've already uploaded to YouTube get a lot of hits. And I also have a blog. I need you to go to that blog, and if you comment on an article, any article on there, then I can click on your username and tap you as a contributor, and then you can post your own articles to the blog whenever you want. That's how we're going to keep this blog going while I'm in the throes of PC. So, I'd also like you to subscribe to me on YouTube. And finally, since people keep asking, I'm going to be pulling for the Giants in today's game because, number one, they're the underdogs. And if I have no personal interest in either team, then I usually go for the underdog. But in this case, I do, in a sense, have a personal stake, and that is, since the Giants knocked my Cowboys out of contention, that is, they won the NFC East and thereby took our playoff spot, I want them to go all the way because I don't like losing to losers. And since they won the NFC East and thereby took the playoff slot that would have gone to the Dallas Cowboys, I want them to win the big game. So, thank you all. And until next time, don't mess with the right-wing genius.